Hi guys, Chef Kevin Belton here. Now, January 13th celebrates Peach Melba. And today I'm going to do two things that's going to satisfy myself and also my wife Monica. Because we're going to do something that's decadent, because who doesn't love cake? But then we're going to make something healthy with yogurt. So for our cake, what I'm starting with is a cup of butter. And you know, traditionally when you hear of Peach Melba, it's basically peaches and raspberries together in a dessert, okay? So I have a cup of melted butter. To this, I'm gonna add a cup of sugar. And this is one of those batters where, you notice I'm using a whisk. We want to get it smooth, but you know, we don't have to whip out the beaters and that type of thing. If you want, you can. But I just want to get the butter and the sugar together. Matter of fact, I'll get one of the eggs in now at this point and get that started to get whisked in. Now, the flour that I have here, this is a self-rising flour. You know, often with baking cakes and all, they always tell you to go ahead, use the flour, then you add baking powder to it or baking soda to it. Baking soda spreads, baking powder rises. Well, here we're using a self-rising flour, okay? That's what we're gonna use for this. And this is a nice, simple, easy recipe. Let's go ahead and get all of the eggs in. We'll get these whisked in really good. Then all we have to do is work our flour in. Now, this is traditionally what's known as a tea cake, all right? And I when I was in the UK, loved the afternoon teas. And I'm not sure if that's where the tea cakes originated, but I tell you what, it's gonna be where we have our tea cake. Now you notice how it's sticking to the sides a little bit? That's where it's important. Take a spatula and always kind of scrape your sides down as you work, especially getting that flour in. So let's go ahead, get the rest of the flour in. And we just want this batter to get nice and smooth. Make sure we don't have any lumps. And you can see sitting, I've prepared a pan. Now this is just a little 8x8 pan. And what we're going to do with this is I've sprayed it, put a piece of parchment paper there, okay? Let me get another spatula right quick just to smooth this out and we can get our sides down at the same time. See, work those sides. Make sure it's whipped in really good. Now, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put half the batter in. Spread that out. Okay, just kind of push it all over. Now this is a kind of a firm batter, but that's okay. It'll eat good. So now we'll take some of our peaches. We're gonna lay our peaches down. We'll take some of the raspberries, put a few raspberries around, and I will get the rest of this batter on the top. So I'll get the rest of the batter on top. We'll do another layer of peaches and raspberries. Then I have the oven preheating at 350. So next time you see us, our cake will be ready to go in the oven. Oven is set at 350. Our cake is ready to go in. Now this is gonna bake for about an hour until we come out with a toothpick and it comes out clean in the center. Now, let's take care of something that's a little more healthier with our yogurt. So into our food processor, I'm gonna put in our raspberries. To this, I'm gonna put in a cup of yogurt. Now, this is a vanilla yogurt. You can use a plain yogurt. This is just a little vanilla yogurt. And we like Greek yogurt, so I'm using a little Greek yogurt. I am going to put in a little honey. Let me get a spoon. Now the thing about the honey is gonna give us some sweetness here. So, you know, depending on how sweet you like it, depending on how much honey you use. So I have a good little bit here. This is probably about 4 tablespoons of honey that we put in. Also to help brighten it up, you know, with fruit and everything, a little lemon juice. That'll help brighten this up. Now we want to go ahead and puree this to where it gets totally smooth, okay? So we can pause it to get it started. But let's go ahead and run it because we want it completely smooth. Now, always take a second, open up, make sure, you know, to check your sides. And you really want to take the time to make sure that this is completely smooth. Tell you what, I think that's good. Now, you can always give it a taste if you like to see how sweet it is. You know, the raspberry is going to be a little tart. That's why we're using that honey for sweetness. Now, I'm using honey. If you would like, you can use like agave, a little coconut sugar if you want, something like that. So let's go ahead. Always be careful with your blade. Now, I'm going to pour this. You notice I'm using just a little pan. We're just going to pour this right on in. Make sure we get all of it out. Nope, I don't mean to get in the way where you can't see, but we don't want to leave anything in. All right. So, what we want to do with this now, we want to go ahead and put this in the freezer because we want this to firm up some. When we come back, I will have had this clean. Then we're going to go ahead and process our peaches, and then we'll dollop our peach that we puree throughout it. That way, when it gets mixed in and freezes, we'll get a little bit of both. So we'll get this in the freezer, we'll get cleaned up, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. Hi guys, welcome back. As you see, our raspberry portion has been in the freezer to firm up just a little bit. Now let's do the same thing with the peaches. Except this time with the peaches, I'm only going to pulse them. All right? Instead of pureeing them, I'm only going to give them a pulse, so hopefully we can have some chunks of peaches in it. Now, of course, if you want to puree it, that's fine. Go ahead and puree it. But I want to be able to have maybe some chunks of peaches inside. So here, let's put our lid on. Oh, lock it in place. That might help. Turn it on. Give it a little pulse. I think we're going to have to do a couple of pulses. Now, come take a look and see what we have. Where, as you can see, we do have some nice peach chunks in here. Now, what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to break this up a little bit so we can get some peach down inside in the corners. Oh, look at that, a nice chunk of peach. Just so this gets kind of mixed in. Now, come take a look. I've mixed in our peaches with our raspberries. So as this freezes and we scoop it, we can get a little bit of both. So I'm going to go ahead, get this in the freezer. Our cake should be ready. And eventually, we're going to have a wonderful dessert. I can't wait. Wow. Look at our cake and our frozen yogurt. Now, if you come take a look, I turned it out of the loaf pan, put it on the cutting board, and just cut it in slices. Put it next to some fresh berries that we had frozen, a little fresh mint, and look at our cake. So you can see the peaches down at the bottom. Remember, we put a layer of batter, we put some peaches and raspberries, another layer of batter, then peaches and raspberries on the top. That's how it just flows throughout. Now, I'm going to take a little powdered sugar, dust this with a little powdered sugar to dress that up. Here, if you want to scoop this out, you can, all right? But I think it's a prettier presentation by going ahead and slicing it. And that way you can serve it this way, you could serve it with the cake on top of it, or make like an ice cream sandwich or a yogurt sandwich in between. That way you have your cake and your yogurt and eat it too. Now, if you're wondering where Peach Melba came from, there was an Australian opera singer by the name of Nellie Melba, and Chef Auguste Escoffier, the French chef, when he was in London, she loved peaches. So he created this dessert with peaches, a raspberry sauce, and he served it on vanilla ice cream, and he named it Peach Melba. That's how Peach Melba got its name. So here you are. I hope you try this. That way you can have the decadent as well as the healthy. So keep washing those hands, keep masking up. Thank you for cooking with me today. For WWL TV, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and we'll see you soon.